Imagine playing a fictional president on TV, then becoming the real president of a nation at war. This is the unbelievable true story of Volodymyr. From performing comedy sketches in high heels to addressing world leaders, Zelenskyy's journey defies every political playbook ever written. Today, we're uncovering the extraordinary transformation of a man who went from making people laugh to leading a nation's fight for survival. But how did a comedian with no political experience convince an entire country to trust him with their future? Early life and unlikely beginnings. Born in 1978 in Kryvyi Rih, a mining city in central Ukraine, Volodymyr Zelenskyy seemed destined for anything but politics. His father was a mathematics professor, his mother an engineer, a typical Soviet middle-class family. Young Volodymyr showed early signs of charisma, but it wasn't directed toward governance. Instead, he was drawn to performance. As a teenager, Zelenskyy discovered his talent for comedy. He participated in school plays and comedy competitions, displaying a natural ability to connect with audiences. This wasn't just class clown behavior. It was the early development of skills that would later prove crucial in an entirely different arena. The comedy years, building an unlikely foundation. In the late 1990s, Zelenskyy co-founded Kvartal 95, a comedy troupe that would become Ukraine's most successful entertainment company. Their breakthrough came with performances that satirized Ukrainian politics and society. Ironically, the man who would later become president spent years mocking the political establishment. Kvartal 95's comedy was sharp, irreverent, and fearless. They performed sketches in Russian and Ukrainian, appealing to audiences across the country's linguistic divide. Zelenskyy often appeared in drag, performed physical comedy, and wasn't afraid to look ridiculous for a laugh. These performances taught him something invaluable: how to read a room and connect with ordinary people. The troupe's success led to television shows, movies, and eventually a production company. Zelenskyy wasn't just performing, he was building a media empire. He learned about storytelling, audience engagement, and the power of narrative, skills that would prove essential in politics. The fateful role, playing president. In 2015, Zelenskyy landed the role that would change his life forever. He was cast as Vasily Petrov in Servant of the People, a Netflix-style political satire where a high school history teacher accidentally becomes Ukraine's president after a student's viral video of him ranting about corruption. The show was more than entertainment. It was a mirror held up to Ukrainian society. Zelenskyy's character was an everyman fighting systemic corruption, surrounded by oligarchs and career politicians. The reality of Ukrainian politics. While Zelenskyy was playing an idealistic president on screen, real Ukraine was struggling with massive challenges. Corruption was endemic, with oligarchs controlling major industries and political parties. The country was also dealing with the ongoing conflict in eastern Ukraine, following Russia's annexation of Crimea in 2014. Traditional politicians had failed to deliver meaningful change. Public trust in government was at an all-time low. Citizens were desperate for someone, anyone, who could break the cycle of broken promises and self-serving leadership. The disconnect between the fictional President Zelenskyy portrayed and Ukraine's actual political reality created a unique opportunity. But could a comedian really bridge that gap? The Impossible Campaign. In December 2018, Zelenskyy announced his candidacy for president through a New Year's Eve television appearance. Many dismissed it as a publicity stunt. A comedian running for president? It seemed absurd. But Zelenskyy's campaign was unlike anything Ukraine had seen. Instead of traditional rallies, he performed comedy shows across the country, weaving political messages into his entertainment. He spoke directly to voters through social media, bypassing traditional media gatekeepers. His platform was simple: end corruption, bring peace to eastern Ukraine, and restore trust in government. He presented himself as the outsider Ukraine needed, someone unburdened by the failures of the past. The established political class underestimated him completely. They saw a joke candidate, not recognizing that Zelenskyy had spent decades perfecting the art of communication. He understood what resonated with people because he'd been making them laugh for years. Critics attacked his lack of experience, his entertainment background, and his use of Russian language. But these attacks backfired. The stunning victory. On April 21, 2019, Volodymyr Zelenskyy won Ukraine's presidential election with over 73% of the vote, one of the largest margins in the country's history. The comedian had become president, but the real test came just 3 years later. On February 24, 2022, Russia launched a full-scale invasion of Ukraine. Suddenly, the man who had once performed in comedy clubs found himself leading a nation at war. Many expected Zelenskyy to flee. Instead, he remained in Kyiv, rallying his people with the same communication skills that had once made them laugh. His daily video addresses, delivered in his signature casual style, became symbols of Ukrainian resistance. The performance background that critics had mocked became his greatest asset. He understood staging, lighting, and how to convey emotion through a camera. His speeches weren't just political addresses. They were masterclasses in communication that inspired not just Ukraine, but the entire world. Volodymyr Zelenskyy's story challenges everything we think we know about political leadership. His journey from comedy stages to the world stage proves that sometimes the most unlikely candidates can become the most effective leaders. His entertainment background didn't disqualify him from serious leadership. It prepared him for it. The skills he developed making people laugh, reading audiences, crafting compelling narratives, remaining calm under pressure, and connecting with ordinary people became exactly what Ukraine needed in its darkest hour. The war in Ukraine continues to shape global politics in ways we're still discovering. Click the next video to see how Zelenskyy's leadership style is changing international diplomacy forever.